Okay, so very warm welcome to all of you and the course introduction in the course 1DV525, an introduction to web programming. Before we start, I would just like to make sure that everybody notices the camera up in the ceiling. So we are streaming all lectures live. That means that if you look at this screen, that is what they will see that are following on YouTube. And that means that your head and maybe your head is kind of showing, just so that you know. If you're really afraid of the camera, please enter in the back and be in the rows back there, and you should be all fine. Well, let's start. So, yeah. First of all, this is also new for some of you. In the courses, so my name is Johan Leitet, and I'm from the Kalmar part of the Linnaeus University. And at the computer science courses, especially in Kalmar, we are streaming more or less every lecture, and all our course material is open source or Creative Commons. So this is just a notice that this presentation and all other presentations and examination assignments and everything is Creative Commons. So please feel free to share them and reuse them. Just make sure that you give a reference to this course. It's not only me in this course. As I said, my name is Johan Leitet. I'm the program coordinator of a couple of programs in Kalmar, mainly the web development program. And hence I'm having this course, because those are subjects that I have in more depth in the Kalmar programs. But I'm not alone. We are two course managers, actually. It's me and it's Mats Lock. So if something were to happen to me, Mats is there to step in. You will probably have most of the contact with me. I plan to have all the lectures. However, on Fridays, we plan to have video logs. That is me and Mats sitting down in a studio in Kalmar and recording kind of a vlog for you guys, 30 minutes, just to like sum up the week and say what is on for next week. So that is a concept that we have been doing in Kalmar for quite a while, and it's quite popular with students, because even if you're taking the course on campus like you are, or on distance, that some of you are, you will feel that you are on the same page, because you get the same information. So you will probably see Mats in those situations. You will also meet Mats. Some of you will meet him when it comes to the oral hearings in the course. I will get back to the oral hearings, but Mats is one of the ones that are helping with oral hearings. Some of you know Tobias Gidlund Andersson. He's stationed here in Växjö. He will help out as well, mainly with oral hearings and the examinations in the course. We have two teachers' assistants. Are they here? I haven't met them. So is Carl and Robert here? No? But they will be watching this anyways. So Carl Löfqvist and Robert Bramstedt, students in media technology. So they will help out with tutoring here in Växjö. But I will get into tutoring and all of those things soon. Oh, did I skip one? Yeah, I did. So as I said, how many of you are totally new students to the Linnaeus University? Okay, some of you. Very warm welcome to you. How many of you are studying a program here in Växjö, like software technology? Okay, so that's the majority. So I think it's like software technology, it's communication and networks, something like that, right?
Network security.
Yep, and internet security, yeah. Did I miss any program? Data technique. Did I get that one? Was it computer science? Computer science. Yeah. So in its purest form. Okay. So you are quite. This group is quite divided. I think we have like program students in the 3rd year. We have totally new students, totally new university. So for some of you, this will be what I do in this course. For the ones that are new, this will be totally normal. For those of you that has had 3 years or 2 years already, this will be kind of different from how you're used to work, maybe. So first of all, for communication with me and the teacher's assistants and Tobias and Mats and all the others, and to communicate between each other, we will use Slack. And computer science actually have a Slack workspace. It's called coursepress.slack.com. And you are free to join using your student email. So if you go to this address, /sign up, you will have a box where you can select, write an email address at student.lnu.se, so shows that one. If you are a teacher, you would choose the lnu.se, but your students, you choose at student.lnu.se, and you register an account that's in Slack. You can be whoever you like in Slack. You can write your real name or you can make a name up. We don't care. Slack is just for like communicating. Of course, it will be a little bit easier to help you if you have your real name, because we will have an easier time matching between your repositories, I'll get back to those, and the conversation in Slack. But it's totally fine to be whoever you like in Slack. So I will not go through Slack and how that works. It's quite an easy tool, but it's a really good tool to work, to communicate with each other. When you are, those of you that have a career in software development will probably end up on a company, and that company right now is probably using Slack for communications. There are other competitors as well. Microsoft has what they call Teams, and there are some other ways of communicating. But in software development, Slack is quite useful because you can hook up so many things automatically against Slack. So if you are building an application and you're deploying that application and something goes wrong, you will get a message in Slack instantly, instead of getting those by SMS or email or something else. So try it out. You will be rewarded if you are active in Slack, because you can help each other and you will get a lot of help any time of the day. When you go into Slack, we have a group. It's called 1DV525-Web Programming. The first time you enter Slack, you will be in the general group, or the general channel. The general channel, if you write something there, all IT students in Kalmar and Växjö will be noticed about that message. So if you have something regarding this course, please put that message in that one. Since we have international students on this course, I recommend that we are writing in English in that channel. However, I'm not from Kalmar, I'm actually from Halmstad, but it's totally fine to write in Swedish to me or anyone else in the course management. But when we write in public, we try to do it in English. We also have, so many of you know my Moodle probably, if you have studied here before, because my Moodle is like the central learning platform. We made our own because we didn't like Moodle. We did that, the first one in '98, so that is over 20 years ago. It's been refined. The latest version, the latest version is called CoursePress. You find the name in different places, but it's called CoursePress. So if you go to coursepress.lnu.se, you will enter CoursePress. This is a simple just WordPress installation, and it's quite old. It's since 2012, and we are working on a replacement for all of computer science right now, but that will not be launched until this next year, probably, in the beginning of next year. However, if you enter this address, it's totally open. As I said, everything we do is out in the open. You will find all course material regarding this course there. It's I could actually show it right now. I'm not at home with the setup in this lecture room, but let's see. Okay, it looks like this. Are you here? No? It's probably some of you. So this is the course webpage. You will find what you need. You find a link to the Slack channel, you find the syllabus, the schedule, where to watch this live, how we work with tutoring, a getting started guide that I recommend you to start with. It's a good start of the course. This course introduction will be published on this link when, probably tomorrow, something like that. You will also find on those lectures, you will find the presentation, you will find a recording, you will find old recordings. We also find the course evaluations. I will get back to those. The video logs will be present here, and then you will find it more or less the content of the course, the lectures, and in the different parts. So it's not much to say. It's kind of obvious. I just bought a new computer as well, and I'm not used to Linux yet, going from Mac OS, so you have to excuse me for like hiccups like that. Okay. Even if you're not, I get this question a lot. So I couldn't register because I have some kind of, I need to pay the university, or I'm not fulfilling all requirements, or I'm not able to get a visa to go to Sweden. All those cases are probably fixed using that webpage, because even if you're not registered on the course, you can still access all materials, all lectures. So you can follow this course, and you can follow this course even if you haven't gone into Sweden yet. So please have that as a start. And if you're registered on the course, a link will appear on LNUS Student to that page as well. Okay, but it's not linked. If you go into my Moodle, you will not find this link. You need to go to LNUSC/student. Okay, going into more of the content of the course. So the main field of study is computer science. That is probably not a surprise for you. The progression is G1F, so it requires some kind of prerequisites. Those prerequisites are problem solving and programming, or corresponding course in an object-oriented programming language. If I ask how many has programmed before, has written code before, I hope it's more or less everybody. Because this is not a course in programming. This is a course in web development that will build upon courses in programming. So you should be familiar with at least an object-oriented language like Java or C#, or JavaScript, that is fine, or Python or whatever, but you should have basic knowledge in programming. If you do not have basic knowledge in programming, this course will be super hard. I would actually recommend you to quit this course and go find a course in just plain introduction to programming. Okay? Yeah, I would say that as well. You are kind of unlucky in this one, because how many of you are planning to take the next course, the one DV523, the server-based web programming? I think some of you have already replied to that one. Yeah, so those are 2 courses that we have more or less in Kalmar as well. However, so this first study period, it's only 9 weeks. This course is designed for 10 weeks. So you will do a 10-week course on 9 weeks. So it will be kind of a tempo in the course. You lose out automatically 1 week in the end. That is not up to me. It's like how the university wants it to be. I don't know why. However, as a bonus, for those of you taking the 523, that is next, not next semester, next study period, that will be 11 weeks. So you will actually have a 10-week course on 11 weeks. So then you can rest a bit. Okay. However, if you were to take this course as a part of a program in Kalmar, this course is next study period. So they have 11 weeks on this course that you guys will have on 9 weeks. However, next one, they will have 9 weeks and you have 11. But that is just how it is. So if you find the tempo kind of stressful, that is one of the explanations to that. But don't blame me. It's not. I want 10. 10 plus 10 is like what I think is logical, but not everybody. Yeah. I will not go into the syllabus. I have cherry-picked some things that are important in the syllabus, and we will have a look at those. So the goals of the course is an obvious important thing. After the course, you should be able to create web pages using HTML and CSS. That is kind of what we will start with today, and you will have quite a short period to finish that assignment, the first one. Turns out HTML is quite simple. CSS, easy enough to learn the basic foundation, hard to manage and work with professionally. But we will just touch on the surface to be able to use HTML and CSS as developers. Analyze problems and evaluate and choose appropriate design and construct solutions in the form of programs in the programming language JavaScript, and JavaScript is the key in that one, I guess. So many of you have programmed in an object-oriented language, a classical object-oriented language like Java. We will look at JavaScript, and I will have 2 lectures on how JavaScript is different basically from Java. And that's basically saying how it's different from C# as well. So the learning curve for learning JavaScript will be quite steep, but because we have a basic course in learning to program in JavaScript, that is a 10-week course as well. I will kind of sum up that 10-week course in 2 lectures, and you have an assignment for 2 weeks or something like that to finish that one. Okay. You will be able to describe a web browser's different internal components and their interactions, including browser security mechanisms. So this is one of the important ones in this course as well, because it's not a course in just any programming, it's web development. And in web development, the browser, the user's browser, is quite an important stakeholder. So we will kind of get a bit deeper in the browser. What are the different components inside of the browser, and how will we as developers work with those? You will create web applications, where applications is a key word. Doesn't say like home pages. It says web applications where JavaScript, HTML, and CSS have clear roles and are clearly separated. We will talk a lot about separations of concerns. You will store and with asynchronous communication transfer data with for the task appropriate data formats. This can sound like a lot of rubbish, but it basically says that we will be able to transfer data from the server to the client without the client needing to reload. We will look at, for instance, WebSockets. But we will get into those as soon as the course starts. So the approach to learn all of this is that the course is divided into 3 parts. The first part, as I said, is HTML and CSS. And actually, yeah, I've included the JavaScript language in that one because that's the two lectures that kind of gets you up to speed with the students in Kalmar, and we can then after that have the same lectures and same assignments. So part 2 and part 3 are given in the programs in Kalmar as well. The second part is the DOM, the Ajax and storage, and the part 3 is a single page application, and you will end this course by writing a quite big single page application. Well, depending on what grade you look at, it could be quite a small application as well, but most of you will probably write quite a big application. A single page application running in the web browser of the user. And most students find that application actually, or assignment actually quite fun to do and work with. So if I could recommend something, it's not a bad idea to try to rush the first part a little bit to like gain ground for the other parts because they are harder. We have scheduled activities. We have 10 lectures in this lecture room because you are so many. I can already now say it will not be 10 lectures here. Some of the lectures will be recordings instead. But I will let you know in advance so that you're not ending up here and I'm not here. Could also be good to know that I'm commuting from Kalmar. Today there was a train stuck on the railway. So some of the trains were cancelled. There was a hazard, but I managed to get here because we started late. However, if we have a lecture at 10, nothing can go wrong on the way because I'm like commuting with a bus to the train, from the train with a bus to here. So a lot of things that could happen on the way. What you should do when you have a lecture with me, the first thing you do in the morning, before you get out of bed, go into the Slack channel and make sure there is not an announcement saying, my kids are sick or something like that, so you don't need to be here. If something like that happens, we have recordings, we could make it work anyways. And if I get stuck on the way here, I will immediately write in the Slack channel and I will say if I'm late or if it's cancelled. But just look in Slack. We will have 2 peer instructions, and some of you may have had peer instructions before, most of you probably not. That is a method, I think it's from Harvard University, that has been proven to increase the results of the scores on exams among students. Basically, it's we will meet here. You will all have like a smartphone or a computer or something like that, and I will show questions and you will vote anonymously, totally anonymously. You will vote on the correct answer. If more than 70% of you get the answer correct, we will move on. If less than 70% gets the correct answer, we will have discussions in smaller groups for like 5 minutes, and then you will vote again. And we will probably see that those who knew the answer will convince the others about what is the correct answer. So we have one for part 2 and one for part 3, and those are before we have the oral hearings in the course. So let's go to the oral hearings then. So we will not have written exams in this course. Nothing is written. We will not make you sit and write a lot of code with pen and paper. We will instead make you work on your assignments. And instead of just sending them in by email and getting an answer back or something like that, you will present those assignments for a teacher. And you will do this in a closed environment, and we will call this the oral hearing. So you will basically go into a room with me, and first I will do it in the right order. So when we meet, we will have a theory hearing first. So I will start off by showing a presentation and say, okay, so why is it important to separate HTML from CSS? Please tell me. And you will have to like explain to me why it's important, or why, at least why I think it's important. And that is the oral hearing. So that basically replaces the theoretical questions on a written exam. Okay? So you cannot just do the programming assignment. You need to be in queue with the theory of the course as well. Okay? So after that theory presentation or hearing, you will show what you have done for the assignment, and we will kind of go through that. I will, of course, ask questions like, okay, so on row 95, you are using the XML HTTP request object. Why? Why did you choose that solution? Are there other solutions that you can choose in that way? So we will have a discussion about your code. Okay? There is two reasons. We want to know that you understand the goals of the course. That is the main reason. And we want to know that it's actually you that has written that code. So that's the reasons why we do that. There are two oral hearings. The first assignment, the HTML and CSS assignment, that is just something that you will hand in, and we will get a written response to you. However, the second and third part, they have oral hearings. That means that we have 3 examination assignments, and every examination assignment, when you pass the oral hearing and the assignment, we will report the grades to LADOC. So you will get your points more or less instantly. You will have tutoring each week. Look in the schedule. We are kind of rescheduling a bit to find a suitable room here in Växjö. And in those tutoring sessions, Carl and Robert will be present to help you. And me and Mats, we will be present as well over Slack. So if you are not able to attend physically, you can always just be in Slack and ask questions, and we will call you over Slack using a cam and a microphone, and we can have a discussion if you like. And that works especially if you are not here in Sweden, of course. Questions about this approach? I mean, you will probably notice, as I said before, those of you who are program students, this is kind of new for many of you, I guess. We will, yep.
What kind of grades do you get on the oral hearing?
Grades on oral hearings. So, I hope I have a slide on that one. Otherwise, so I don't... Damn, I should have had that. So, first assignment is pass and fail, the HTML and CSS. The second assignment is pass and fail. The third assignment, the third oral hearing, is graded. A to E. We will probably, I mean, if you do a really good second oral hearing and a not so good third, we will probably raise the grade on the third because you did good in the second. And of course the opposite around. But it's A to E, A to F in the scale, and it's the third examination assignment that gets the grade. I will just go over this really quick. So, part 1, HTML, CSS, create web pages using HTML and CSS and bridge the gap between Java or any object-oriented language and JavaScript. And that's 4 lectures, 1 assignment, and you will get feedback via GitHub. I'll get back to that as well. And you get tutoring. The second part is about the DOM, AJAX, and storage. We should be able to create web applications with Java. Yeah, I read that one already. So we will look at JavaScript in relation to HTML and CSS. So in the first assignment, we will make a simple website. And with the second part, we will start adding behavior to that website or any other website or web application, basically. So we will look at how is JavaScript related to HTML and CSS? How can we do manipulation of CSS and HTML? and that includes the DOM, that is the API for working towards the HTML and CSS. We will also look at basic event handling in the browser. The second part is about, it's still the second part. We will store with asynchronous communication, transfer data with for the task appropriate data formats using asynchronous communication, including AJAX. We will probably be looking at AJAX or XML HTTP request objects, but we will also start looking at the WebSocket API for this one. We will look at data transfer formats. Probably many of you are familiar with XML. How many have worked with JSON? Yeah, some of you. So that is just a data transfer format that is kind of global and really used on the web or internet. So we will look at that one. I mean, if you know JavaScript, JSON is only a subset of JavaScript, so it's really easy. Yeah, that was what I already said. Where did this? Yeah, that is the third part. The third part is about creating single-page application, and then this one is the fun one. That is like creating real applications. It could be like a simple stock broker curve application thingy on a web page, or could be like Slack is a web application, Spotify is a web application. I mean, there are web applications everywhere. Of course, we will not create that big of an application, but a smaller one. We will look at the concept of offline web applications, because when you create applications, you cannot rely on that you always have a stable connection or internet connection. You can be able to actually create your application so it totally works offline. You can even make it make the application install it on the phone, and when you start it, it will just work even if you have no network connection, even though it's just a regular web application. So we will look at techniques like for that. Optimization, of course, at least a little bit. As accessibility on the web, that is something that I will kind of weave in all the lectures in some way, because it's an important subject. However, it's easier to comply to rules nowadays than it was like 20 years ago. Handling the history, being able to like use the back and forward buttons in the browser and make the applications handle that well. And we will give you an overview of all the API, or many of the APIs in the browser, because there are a lot of APIs in the web browser those days. Going back 20 years ago, there was a few APIs. Today you can do whatever you like with the browser, more or less. You can have 3D, you can have VR experiences, you can connect gamepads to play games. There are APIs for most of the things you can do with your unit, if it's a computer or a smartphone. And we will have a look at those. The new APIs are kind of constructed in the same way, using like promises and techniques like that, and we will look at promises and how we can, I mean, if you can use like 5 APIs, you can use other APIs as well, because they are designed the same way. I forgot to tell you, because I'm looking here all the time, and that is because we have a chat, as I said, in the Slack, 1DV525 web programming. If you have questions during the lecture, it's totally fine to post them there, or if you're here, you can of course raise your hand. But I'm checking the chat all the time. I'm not able to monitor the YouTube chat, so if there is any, but if there are YouTube chat, don't write there, write in Slack instead. Yeah, we've gone through that. So course literature is always a question that comes up. We try to make, as I said before, everything open and accessible, and we have chosen a open sourced literature as well. So if you go to eloquentjavascript.net, you will find a web version of this book totally free, so you can use that one. If you like, of course, you can buy this as a paperback. It says second edition. Isn't there a third, or was it some of you that kind of made me believe there was a third? Someone sent me an email about something, and now I'm not sure which version is the one that is correct. However, the latest version. If you go on that link, you will find the latest version, and if you order the paperback, do the latest version. This one is good for you, I think, because this one also requires you to have prerequisites in another language. So it will not teach you the basics in programming. It will kind of be like this course is, an introduction for developers into the web development process. All the examples in this book you can edit on the web page and try them out and change them if you like. So that's a big plus for the web version. If you want something more tasty or something to really study that is a bit thicker, I could definitely recommend. I'm not sure if there is a fourth edition yet, but the Professional JavaScript for Web Developers is a classic by Nicolas Sakas. Nicolas Sakas has done a lot for this community, and it's quite a thick book. It's an American book, so they get paid by the page. But it's quite good, actually. There are a lot of crappy books concerning JavaScript. There are probably every good book has 1,000 crappy books. So just don't just visit Amazon and search for JavaScript and order the 5 first or something like that, because they will probably be crap. I'm trying to find another replacement for this book, but it's really hard because that one is good. This will probably be new to you as well. Okay, so how many of you has worked with Git? Oh, good. That's actually quite a few. Git is a version handling system. Was invented by Linus Torvalds, the Linux guru, for being able to version handle Linux. So instead of just saving files, you version control the files or the source code. You do that locally on your computer, but then it's really, really easy to synchronize changes done on your local computer with, for instance, a service like GitHub or Bitbucket or GitLab, to be able to safely store all of your code in one service or cloud service. We will use Git for all assignments in the course. First part, second part, and third part. It's actually a requirement. So if you just send in the first part in one big chunk of code without any Git history, you will fail that assignment, and you'll need to get back with, like, how did you write the code? You need to do commits for every single, not every single line, but every single feature you are. It will not be a theoretical course about Git, so we will not go into feature branching and things like that. You can work, however, you can work in the master branch. For those of you that know, that makes sense. For the other ones, it's like rubbish. But we have guides for this. But the main thing is that you cannot start the first assignment, work for it for 2 weeks, just saving like you're used to in the computer, and then, oh, it was this Git. Okay, I do a Git add dot, and I do a Git commit, and I send it in. Because then all the source code, all of your changes will be one big save. And we have no way of looking at the progress, how you made this application. We need to be able to follow how you did the application. That is one important thing. The resolution of that, I mean, okay, should we do that for each file we write? Well, no, because as you probably know, writing code is not like doing one file and then the other. It's more like, okay, so on my web page I need a menu. So I start working with the menu. Okay, when I'm pretty much done with the menu, I can do a commit. Okay, that was that. Then I start working with the footer. Okay, so I work with the footer and then I do a commit. So more like that resolution. Or when we get into code later on, okay, so I need an algorithm for getting the most popular songs in this library. And you spend a couple of hours doing that. That is probably one commit as well. Okay, so I would say that a normal examination assignment is somewhere between 20 and 200 commits in that vicinity. I cannot tell you to have 50 commits. Depends a lot about how you structure your work. So, but as a rule of thumb, somewhere between 20 and 200 is probably where you should be. Okay? Why do we do that? We do that because we want to make sure that you have written your code yourself, of course. Because when you use frequent commits, you cannot take another one, find the code online, take that code and just chunk it up. You need to basically reverse engineer that code and make your own commits, and then you have you have made the application yourself, and then it's fine. So you can probably find some of those assignments on Rent the Programmer. Of course, I look there as well, so beware. We will use GitHub as the way of storing and handing in the assignments. So as soon as you register on the course and follow the Getting Started guide, there is an instruction that says write your GitHub ID in this page. You need to do that because when you do that, we can start creating repositories for you on GitHub. And the repository is basically a storage area for your assignment. And that is where the assignment should end up. Okay, more advanced for those of you that have your own like GitLab environment or whatever, you're totally fine. You can work against that environment. However, you need to set the upstream in when you work, you need to set the upstream to GitHub as well, so that you can push the repository to GitHub. But you could have it on your own GitLab if you like, or Bitbucket or whatever. But it must end up at our GitHub repositories when it's time. And not your own ones. You should not create your own repositories on your GitHub account. We will create those for you on the course organization or the GitHub organization. Okay, moving on. IDE. Actually, we'll take a break because it's 2 o'clock and you're looking a bit overwhelmed. So 15 minutes break. I will be here to answer questions if you have any regarding registration and things like that. Okay, so welcome back. And as you see, I keep my 15 minutes sharp because that is when we go live on the tube. I've tried to crank up the sound. Could you please just in Slack just say if it's better or worse, or if it could be even better if I try to crank it up a little bit more. Oh, wasn't in that thread. Let's see. Better, good, thanks. I will also say to all of you, if you look at that screen and if you on distance look before you, you see that I'm not able to tap the computer image into the Wirecast that we are using for this. So I've tried to zoom in the camera on the screen. I hope it works for now. I was trying to get everything up and running here before we started, but I only had 30 minutes and I didn't make it. I hope in the future that I will be able to like, of course, get the computer and projector screen into the editing process. But unfortunately, it didn't work today. Okay, yeah, just one more comment on Git. Many of you will like be frustrated, probably. Oh, why are we using this? It's so much easier to just send everything in a zip file over email to the teachers. Yeah, it probably is in the beginning. However, if you are supposed to be working as developers in any brand of developers, if you're web developers or software developers, yeah, question?
Yeah, about Git, are we forced to use the command line, or can we use it like Git tracking?
Yeah, I will get back. So when you're working as a developer, whatever developer, Git is one of those tools that you will most probably use. And why not start using them now when you're students? Because then you get used to them before you start working professionally. As I said, we don't have like courses in how to do version handling. We could probably need some, but a good first start is just to like start using the tool in its very basic form, and that will answer your question as well. Because in this course, of course, those of you who we anticipate that you haven't used Git at all. So in the guides, we will do a step-by-step for what you need to do, of course. And in those guides, we are using the commands in the terminal. And the reason why we do this, there are fancy graphical tools that you can use, and you're free to do so. I will not interfere. However, the reason why we do these instructions using command line commands is because you cannot mess things up if you write a command. However, clicking buttons in a graphical interface, you can click the wrong button and something will happen that you might not be able to fix that easily. However, if you write the commands in the correct order, you will get the same result every time. That is why we do it like that. But you are free to use any graphical tool, work however you want, as soon every tool you want, but you need to make a Git commit history. That is like what you need to do. Yeah, visual is fine right now. Yeah, the problem is when I start writing code, it will not be. So for the presentation, it's probably good. Okay, you need to write, talking about writing code, you need to write code as well, of course. We will do a lot of code writing in this course, and we will use an integrated developer environment for that, an IDE. And the IDE that that you should use if you don't have a better reason is probably Microsoft Visual Studio Code, because it's like easy, it works really well. The course is maybe not designed for using Microsoft Visual Studio Code. However, if we have screenshots of tutorials and things like that, we show things in Microsoft Visual Studio Code. That's the reason why we think you should use that one. Of course, you can use Atom or Sublime or whatever, Eclipse or whatever if you like. We really don't care. But if you want some guidance in choosing the right IDE for this course, Microsoft Visual Studio Code is the way to go. I think it's quite lightweight. It's extendable. Microsoft has always been good on making developer tools, even though Visual Studio has become this, the classical Visual Studio has become this like big monster. Visual Studio Code is more clean, and you add things that you need instead of them being there from the beginning. So they have a modular approach. But feel free to use whatever editor you like. We will work with Node.js, not as much in this course as in other courses. However, you need to install Node.js and npm on your computer to be able to do some of the assignments and to be able to play around with JavaScript without using the browser. And some of the tools that we use for development is also Node tools. So you need to install that one. We will write in the guides where you need and when you need to do that, so no worries. We will use other tools as well. We'll use a code standard in this course. Are you used to working with code standards, those of you that take a program? Or have the teacher said that you should use this code standard? No, so you have basically, you can choose whatever you like. Doesn't matter if you like have the bracket after the function or as a separate row. Okay, oh, they are a little bit nitpicking. Okay, so you kind of have a code standard in some ways, but not all the way through. So in this course, we will use the standard JS code standard. It will tell you exactly how the code should be formatted. So you are not able, for instance, to use double quotes. You should use single quotes. And that's because the code standard says that. This is also common when you start working as a developer. Your company will probably have a code standard. We actually, before we used standard JS, we used Airbnb's code standard because that is quite common as well. But we changed to standard JS because it's a little bit cleaner. For instance, this will shock some of you. When you write a line in JavaScript, you will not end that line with a semicolon, as you do in Java. You could, in JavaScript, end the line with a semicolon, but the code standard will prohibit that behavior. You will find when we advance into JavaScript that it's actually quite a good thing not using semicolons, I think at least, when you start to shading commands. The code gets a lot cleaner and easier to read. The code standard will even tell you how you should indent your code. You should use 2 blank spaces to indent your code. Of course, you can press the tab key and it will insert two blank spaces indentation. Not 4, 2. That's because of the code standard. When you hand in your assignments, you will run, I think, I'm not sure. I have so many courses and we do a little bit differently in each and every one, but you will run, like, before you send in your release and say that I'm finished, you will need to have to run your code through standard JS and it will evaluate your code. Of course, we will make it so that standard JS will tell you all the time if you write an error. Like in Visual Studio Code, you will get a red like in Microsoft Word, you will get red waves under the wrong instruction if you do something wrong, and you will see it already when you write the code. However, if you hand in something that is not applying to standard, you will get a message back saying, "Oh, sorry, you do not apply to the code standard. Please redo or rewrite." Or we will tell you at the oral hearing, and you will have to make a complementary hand in with the code fixed. And that is because we hate to look at crappy code. We want the code to be clean, easy to read, and standardized, and that's why we are doing it. You may hate some parts of that code standard. sorry, just accept it. It's for this course only. After that, you can do whatever you like or what the company will tell you to do when you are an employee. Questions about that? And we will use, I will get into modules and things like that later on. I will not speak about that right now. And there are many, many more tools. GitHub I mentioned, for instance. It's quite a tool-heavy course in that way. But I think it's really important for you as developers to be able to handle tools of different kind, being able to adapt to new situations, because that is your future, basically. You will adapt to different languages, different tools all the time. I got some questions. So first off, on Git, as I said, you will get repositories generated for you. And you will get those repositories on you can already now visit github.com/1dv525. It's as easy as that. So you just write the course code after github.com. And you will get to this organization on GitHub where all repositories for all students are present. And now I'm probably breaking some GDPR laws by showing names, but okay. Press charges. When you go here, you will obviously only see your own repositories and the ones that we have made public. So if we filter on public ones instead, like that, you will find an examination 2 folder. You will find a syllabus. It's actually this presentation, so if you want to modify anything, you can do that by sending a pull request. Examination 3 assignment, and so on. We will instruct you in how you will use those public repositories. But you also get private repositories, and those are for your eyes and ours only. So the course management and you will be able to see what you write in those, no one else. And those private repositories, this is where you hand in the assignments. I got a question. There is one called exercise. So there is one exercise, one examination 1, 2, and 3, 4 repositories. What is the exercise repository? Well, that is because in part 2 of the course, we have a lot of exercises that you can do to prepare yourself for the assignment, the examination assignment. And then you can use that repository just as a playground to send in and try stuff out. So it's basically a playground repository. You can set up your own playground repositories on your own account as well, but you have been given those on this organization. So it's always in this organization where your code should end up before an examination. And as I said, we have guides to take you through all of this. Now I remember what I forgot to do. Well, doesn't matter actually. Course introduction. No, it's so hard to do things behind your back. Introduction to web programming. You can Google this course and you will probably find it. So, in the Getting Started guide, there is some instructions on how to get started with Git and GitHub. We have some videos that is from GitHub, I think, that you can watch if you haven't used GitHub before or Git to know what it is. You can, if you like, this is optional, but if you haven't already set up a GitHub account, you will need to set up a GitHub account. Those of you that have GitHub accounts, private ones, feel free to use them, doesn't matter. If you create a GitHub account, I would urge you to choose a username that you will be familiar with, or that you think that you will like for many years over, because that username will stick with you through the education and probably through business as well. So if you haven't already set up a GitHub account, do it for this course, and make sure that you have an appropriate GitHub username. Because it turns out actually that if you look at what employees, is it called employees? I'm mixing up the words. Employers, thank you. Employees are the, employers employ employees. Okay, employers. If you look at the ones that will hire you in the future, they will probably look at your GitHub account as one part of the application process. It's probably more in the GitHub, for developers, I would say that the GitHub account is more important than the LinkedIn account. So treat it that way as well. So if you do a project in a course that you're really proud of, publish it on your GitHub account so that employers will see that one. Okay, well, that was just to get to this. When you create your account, or if you already have an account, you can add your LNU, your @student LNU SE address to that account as a secondary email or a primary email if you like. When you've done that, you can apply for GitHub Educational Pack, and that will give you a 2-year, a lot of free tools for 2 years basically. Tools that are paid plan or that you need to pay for normally. I'm not actually sure what is included right now, but private repositories, AVS education, DigitalOcean, Heroku if you want to publish something there. JetBrains, they have a lot of courses. Microsoft Azure, you get some credits, 100 credits on Azure, and things like this. So if this is something you like, just make sure that you have your @student LNU SE address in your GitHub account, and then you can apply for this. However, remember it's a 2-year, so if you after 2 years you will get a mail saying that your benefits are gone. Yeah, this is the one where you need to log into CoursePress with your LNU account, and you need to fill in your GitHub ID, because that is what we are using when we are syncing registered students against GitHub accounts, because we have no way of knowing your individual GitHub accounts otherwise, so we cannot create repositories for you. What program do you attend? Take the one that is closest to you. If you don't know, just pick one, doesn't matter. It will probably say this in the description in the organization, but it doesn't matter. Take something that you think it's good. Yeah, so basically when you've done this, you can stop at the IDE. This is for the second part of the course. What is next? The exercises in the course is for the second part of the course. So when you have installed an IDE, when you have configured Git and GitHub, you can start working on the first part of the course with its lectures and the examination assignment. And in this examination assignment, that deadline will update really, really soon. I think I've already updated it, but I haven't pushed the commit. That is a problem. It will say 2019 instead, and I think it will be the 21st of September. That is deadline. You have instructions here for how to hand in your code. Because, I mean, you are 100 students taking this course. 60 of you will hand in this assignment before deadline. We will not go through each and every one of you and check if you have made your sent in your assignment. We have a trigger system for this. So what you do is you make a release on GitHub. It's really easy. You go to GitHub, you go into your examination repository, you click release, and you make a release named something in that area, like version 1.0. If you've done that and you remember, oh shit, I made a mistake, and that you update something, you make a new release and you name that one 1.1 and 1.2 and so on. So when you think you're finished with assignment, make a release, name it something, and we will look at it. If you don't make a release, we will not look at it, because we are not sure that you have finished your assignment. It's really boring for us to like start looking at the assignment, and after 15 minutes we realize, but wait, maybe she or he isn't finished. And then we need to do that with each and every one. So that is why it's important. Just read this, just follow the instructions. That is what I want to say. And I say that because many miss this step. On all the assignments, you will have to make a release. In this assignment, it's basically, if you have done HTML and CSS before, you will probably recognize this. You should create a couple of web pages, link them together, make a contact form, style it using CSS. You can use whatever CSS technique you like for styling. I will show some on the lectures. You should also make some posts on the web page explaining those 4 bullet points. For instance, what is Open Graph and how do you make use of it? Then you should write something about what is Open Graph and how you can make use of it on the web page. So that is the first assignment. Deadline somewhere 21st of September. So you have a couple of weeks for that one. But remember, this is the easy one. So start whenever you like. The harder ones will come, and that is the second and third one. In the second assignment, you can start with those as well. They are up to date. In this one, you will make a quiz application. It will be an application that will get quiz questions from a server of ours and present those to the user. The user will answer, and if it's correct, they will get a new question. Just follow the instructions for this one. And here you can see that the preparation part, do exercise A and B level. I will go into this. Read this in the book, make sure Node and npm is on your computer, use git to clone, and then you get the command, and so on. Exercises. There are exercises in this course, quite a lot of them. First of all, we have an instruction of how to getting started, so you can look at that one. That is how to install everything and getting up to speed. And then we have a lot of exercises like Tiny Tunes, Elenuit, Bartboard, Temple of Doom, and so on. On many of those, you will see recordings. So for instance, on this Bartboard exercise, you can read the exercise, you can do the exercise for your own, but I've also recorded a demo. Oh, no sound, please. Where I basically code a long session. So you can do whatever you like. Some are like coding along with me on the same time. That is fine. Some choose to like try to make the exercise first and then look at my version. Some like to trash my version and tell me how bad I've made some things here. What you should know is that when I do those recordings, I try to do them as pedagogically as I can. I try to like make them as easy to understand as possible. There are always some fancy trick you can do to get rid of a line of code, but it will probably be harder to read then. So that is my defense anyways. So please use those. In some of those that are a little older, maybe, which one? Memory game, maybe. This one is long, it's like 2 hours. I made this 3 times because the mic didn't work the two first times. So I spent a day recording this demo, and that is why I haven't redone it in like 3 years or something like that. Back then we used, is this Eclipse or something like that? Some Java IDE. So the IDE will be different, and probably the code standard as well. So if you look at this one, I will probably have semicolons everywhere. But you will not be able to do that because of the code standard. But I mean the programming is basically the same anyway. A success factor for being able to finish the examination assignments is actually doing the exercises. Many of you will fall in the trap of, oh my God, I have so much to do. I better skip all the exercises and do the assignment right away because then I could like win some time. You will not. You will just bang your head in the wall on the examination assignments. However, if you do the exercises, you will get a lot of hints on how to do the examination assignments. In some, especially the second one, I mean, the examination assignment is kind of like just picking parts from the different exercises and putting it together. But if you haven't done the exercises, you don't have those parts. You need to come up with all the parts yourself. Okay? So just a reminder, please do the exercises. Of course, you can always, if you want to work in advance, maybe you're going on a vacation or something, you need to plan ahead. Everything on the web page is up to date. So, let's go to offline and spa, for instance. Then you find old recordings here. In some of them, we had a special case last year because we were moving in Kalmar. Let's see if I have anyone. JavaScript in the browser, maybe. I couldn't have too many lectures last year. No? Where is it? Dumb then. Yeah. So in this case, for instance, you have recordings from last year. And you will find English and Swedish. If you look at the Swedish one, those are the ones that I have for Kalmar students. And the English version is this last year. So if you want to work ahead, please go ahead. Look at the recordings instead. And I will, as I said, probably do new recordings from Kalmar sometimes, and I will mix and match. Because I know it myself. I've been in your situation. It's really hard to sit there and listen for someone for 2 hours. It's more convenient to look at the YouTube recording, actually. And you can watch it in double speed if you like. Okay. Yeah, one thing. That was why I was going in it. What I must show you is the course evaluations of this course. That is an instruction. I haven't this year's last year's. Oh well. See if I find that one really quick. Yep. This is last year. Not sure how many. Yeah, 60 respondents. That's actually quite good. So this was the overall result of the course. 60% thought it was very good, quite good, and someone, 2 didn't like it at all. Unfortunately, last year no one wrote any comments. The pace of the course. What was the pace of the course? Quite a lot thought that the pace was over 50%. So this is where probably you should be. I mean, it's a 50%. No, it's a 60% course, as I said, or 55 because we have 9 weeks. So you should probably be in this one. Somewhere in the vicinity of 45 hours a week or something like that. But many thought it was tougher. Many said that they were spending all the time on this course. The course has stimulated creativity and critical thinking. Strongly agree. Yeah, you can just watch it. Let's see if we have any problems. That is more interesting. Hours again. Some actually had, no, it shouldn't be 45 hours. It should be 22 hours a week. I mean, if you spend more than 40 hours a week, then it's more than full pace. So please don't, because you will burn yourself. Or, and no comments on this one. I could just comment. What many have commented before is that they think it's quite nice to be working with. We try to have quite modern tools, and you are able to use modern tools when you develop. And many have thought that that is quite a relief to be able to work with Git. You will, in the last assignment, for those of you who have programmed a lot, you are able to, if you like, to use a client-side framework like React or Angular if you like. That is totally fine. However, the second assignment will be pure JavaScript, because we want to know that you can handle pure JavaScript or vanilla JavaScript before you start using a framework. But so second part, vanilla JavaScript. Third part, you're free to do whatever you like, and you are free to try out things like service workers and newer techniques like that. Yes, question? Are you able to use TypeScript for the last assignment? Absolutely, that's fine. But not the second one. On the second one, vanilla JavaScript. If you are unsure if you are able, or if you are allowed to use a library or something like that, just ask me on Slack and I will tell you. Yep.
What about the standardization of the code? Will it pass through if we use TypeScript or Angular for the final one?
Good question. No, it will probably, yeah, well, no, it will probably not. Then we will agree on, the question was, so the code standard, will it let through TypeScript, for instance, if we use that? It will probably not, but just for TypeScript, I'm pretty sure there are some options you can do to make it support TypeScript. In that case, we will just, on the third assignment, as soon as you at least follow any code standard and are just following that, not mixing and matching. If the code is okay and look good, then it's fine, and you can even use another code standard if you like for the third assignment. But the second one, then it's standard JS, and for the exercises as well. But I mean, that is, you don't hand in the exercises. Of course, you can always ask us, oh, I made this exercise, is it better to do this or that? You can always ask, but you don't need to hand in the exercises. But yeah, I think I answered your question. Oh my God, time is running out. Think I haven't forgot anything important. So what is happening right now, let's see if I have anything else in the presentation. What is happening now is yeah, this is web page. We have looked at it, or website. Use that one. I will publish news on the website or the course web page. Those will be aggregated into Slack, so they will show up there as well. I will do the same with vlogs and things. So as long as you are just following the Slack flow, everything will show up there. We have the discussions in Slack, and if you have private matters, you can mail me, but even better if you mail 1dv525@lnu.se. So if I'm not present, then Mats can have a look at the case and you will get an answer quicker. But it's okay to mail me as well. But only private matters. Please don't send why is my Git not working in that one. Do that in Slack. Everything that is related to course content. Here you can send I'm not able to register because of reasons. That was the last one. Okay, so what's up? We will start with this part. I will not have a lecture on this part today. Instead, we will have recordings on those two first parts, follow up by a vlog this Friday. We have a tutoring session tomorrow, Friday, as well. So what you are supposed to do right now is to look at the two first lectures, and I would do that this week. So try to this week look at the two first lectures and start with the examination assignment 1, the HTML and CSS. Or at least, I mean, if you've just managed to write hello world in the first HTML page this week, then you're fine. Then you're in pace with the course. Because then you have probably installed Git and you have done all of those things as well. Important. I always forgot. Good. Because you will have so many questions on this. So, how should I show this? Let's do it like this. Good. So, you will have an examination 1, a repository where you will store the source code of the first assignment. Connected to this repository is something called GitHub Pages. That is a way of publishing a web page on GitHub instead of using an external web server. So in this course, when you push your code to this repository, it will be published automatically on GitHub Pages. So you don't need to like FTP into a server somewhere and publish your code, because it will be shown anyway. And the problem with this is when we generate repositories for you, the repositories are empty. And we cannot activate, and there is no way of doing this using the API, we cannot activate GitHub Pages on your repository without there being at least one commit. That means that when you do your first commit, I've committed index.html to this repository. You can look at the commits here. I've actually done an initial and I did an update on the index.html. After this is done, because we are admins and you are not on your repository, because then you can delete it and everything will be out of sync. When we have made a commit, we as teachers can go in and publish your site, and it will get this address 1dv525 github.io/your repository name. This is in the guide how you do. This is in the guide as well. But we need to activate this manually. 100 students after you made a commit. We will find a way around this someday. However, we will, short version, why we're not fixing this right now is because we are setting up a GitLab environment locally on the university, and we will switch to that, and then we will have things like this in place. Yes?
Do we have to let you know, or will you just
yeah.
eventually?
Then comes this problem. I will try to like monitor and go in and activate as soon as I can, but if it doesn't work, just ping me on on Slack, send me an email, just say, I made my first commit, and I will activate it for you. It's a little bit cumbersome because when you start working, you want it to work immediately, and it doesn't. I have 280 students something this semester, or this starting right this week. I'm trying to prioritize those because they're really easy for me to do, but it's just like I need to do them. So just send me on Slack. If you send an email, it will probably take a couple of days. So send a Slack message, okay? You will know, because when you follow the guide, you click your link, it will just say, no GitHub pages activated. It should look something like this. Hello world from, or I probably wrote hello world from GitHub. So, I mean, if you've done this the first week, then you're totally in sync with the course. But remember, you need to tell me. That is not good, that 100 students need to tell me that, because, oh, well. If you want to be nice to me, you can send it to Mats as well. I don't think he's listening, so maybe I should point everybody to him instead. I will be here for yet 10 minutes if you have any more questions. Watch out for the vlog on Friday. We will summon up the week. We will probably repeat this GitHub thing because it's quite hard for you to understand if you haven't tried to start working with Git. It's quite cumbersome to understand how it works. We will sum that up. There will be no lecture now at 3 because 4 hours isn't in an afternoon isn't that good. Any questions? Or I will stay. Okay, thank you.